Feel free to chime in anytime audibly. Just pull yourself off of mute. I'll take questions at any time. Today's training, we are only scheduled to go for about a half an hour. We're trying to do these a little shorter, but we are going to have a period afterwards for question and answers. So feel free to chime in during the training session if you have something that's immediately applicable, or if you want to hold on to that till the end, we'll open that up for Q&A. I do want to ask that everybody keep the Q&A towards today's topics. We used to do some kind of open-ended tech talks and Q&A sessions, but what we found from some of that is some of the questions can kind of rabbit hole down into areas where only one person needs to know those issues or whatnot. So we're trying to stay on specific topics here and be respectful of your guys' time as well. So without any further ado, hopefully everybody can see my screen okay. It looks like nobody's on video, so I can't see if I got any thumbs up, but unless somebody said something's wrong, I'll assume we're doing okay. Hopefully you guys can see the graphic that I had on there. This is a nice graphic that I got from KW Marketplace when I went through my initial training. And when it comes to your Keller Williams websites, you've got a couple of different options for you. You've got your agent site, which of course is where you have yourself or your team here at KW. And this kind of gives you some differentiation on what those different things are going to be. You've got agent sites available. Of course, you're going to have, your bio on there, your profile, kind of like your professional resume. You're going to have a search capability for your houses, some contact information for yourself, maybe some client testimonials are great things to put on that, etc. And so that's kind of where you build your home base, so to speak. The other thing that we offer through KW is what are called landing pages, which is what we're going to focus on today. The landing pages, they're kind of a standalone web page. They literally have their own unique URL. They are not attached to your KW agent site, although you can create them and attach them to an agent site. But these are kind of like one-off purposes or for a special reason. It's going to be, kind of individualized or focused topics. So let's say you have a house up for sale, you've got I just listed, you want to do a just listed web page for that. Maybe a coming soon web page. Maybe like today we're going through how to create an open house, including a sign-up sheet. Maybe you want to put a client testimonial submission form on there. That's one that's gotten really popular, gained a lot of popularity lately. So whenever you finish a listing or you complete a deal and you've got a client that will probably give you some positive feedback, you can send them that unique URL rather than have them muddle through all the menus to go through your agent page and kind of find it on their own. You can just send them, hey, would you mind giving me some feedback on how well I service your needs during your home search, or some feedback on how you felt about my customer service with you through this whole time, and just send them that unique URL. Okay, so that's kind of the difference between the agent page and the listing pages. Okay, the other thing about they also have a brand new thing that you can add. This was literally came out in December. We did have the capability through Command to do videos for social media posts, but now we have the capability to add videos to your landing pages as well, which is kind of nice. We've had some people that have actually gone, hang on, actually Gail's trying to get in. Let me get her in here. Oh, that's Ash. Ash. I should have known. It says Ashley. I know Ash. Hey, Ash, how you doing, bud? Welcome to the training. Have had several good conversations with Ash, great guy. So anyways, the video feature is really nice. There's been some people that have branched out and have been looking and doing virtual walkthroughs, or maybe the Matterports videos that some of you might have seen, where they go and they kind of map out your home via 3D photograph technology, and you can do those kind of virtual reality walkthroughs. Okay, and those can be video files as well. So kind of a new exciting thing that people are adding. I know Bob and Lorraine Hetherington, if you're familiar with them, one of our awesome teams here at KW Consultants. Lorraine, I think almost daily does a video, kind of like HGTV does, and it's kind of a how-to or a fixer-upper, how to organize your closet, how to, spruce up your kitchen design, etc. So video is kind of king right now. They're doing a great job with their video content, and if you ever have a chance to use video, I would highly recommend that. So, but anyways, I want to show you that graphic. That kind of shows the difference between the agent sites, like I said, and the landing pages. So I'm going to go ahead and get logged into Command here, and we're just going to go from scratch, guys. I never like to assume that somebody knows or does not know something. I'm not sure like how long each of you have been here at KW, whether you're a new or I don't like seeing old agents. How about a more seasoned agent? We'll say that, or a veteran agent. So I do always kind of want to go through some basics here, just to make sure that your command is set up properly to go do these pages before you go off and do them. There we go. Get into my command. If you look up over on the right-hand side, you're going to see my lovely mug there with my spiky hair. That's always how you can find me in the office. And whenever you click on your headshot, excuse me, in command, this little menu pops up, and we're going to go down to our settings. Okay. And when you get into your settings here, the initial screen, this is where you can see all the different areas you're connected to, your Facebook posts, your Gmail account, your DocuSign or Dotloop, whichever you're using for your signatures and paperwork. But over here on the left-hand side, you've got all these settings menus: general settings, command settings, connect settings. I'm going to click on connect settings and go to the marketing profile. And before you guys go in and create any landing pages, if this is already set up, that's great. Again, I don't like to assume that it is for everybody. So I always like to come in here. This is part of what I show people on their onboarding, their initial command training as well. But your marketing profile here in command, this is all of your basic information, including your headshot photo, your team logo, if you've got one, your DBA, your market center logo, so for us, KW Consultants. And then all of your basic information, name, phone numbers, emails, etc. And I always like to direct everybody here. So before you go off and make your agent site, if you haven't yet, or before you go off and make a landing page, please, please, please make sure that you come into your marketing profile and make sure that all this stuff is up to date. This option up here in the upper right, it should be turned on by default, but please make sure that it is. It says use my information to brand my agent site. And what's going to happen is when you create your agent site or you create a landing page or even some of your marketing materials, such as social posts, your advertisements, Facebook ads, etc., it will actually take your basic information from this marketing area and command will autofill it or auto populate it into the different areas of your web pages that you're creating or your marketing material that you're creating. So again, always like to show everybody to make sure this is up to date. Otherwise, if you did not do this, you literally would be filling out basic contact information every single time. Hang on just one second, everybody. Amanda's trying to get in here. Make sure I admit everybody. Okay. So your headshot photo is required. Mine's on there. You've got your team logo that's available. It does tell you that, hey, the recommended size for this is 360 by 360 pixels. If you've got a team logo on there, great. If you don't, you just hit that upload button. And just like looking for any other file, it gives you the open window and you can go and find that team logo if you've got it. Okay. Down below that, when you get into the My Details area, anything in there with an asterisk, that is a required field. So obviously your first name, last name, that's pretty important. You've got your team name, your agent license number is available, even though it's optional. Your professional title, any designations or professional credentials that you have, make sure you've got that thrown in. Down below your bio, it does have kind of a basic default bio, why choose me as your agent and some good seller points. But definitely get this updated with your more personalized bio or resume, whichever you like to refer to that as. This is a pretty robust area, so it actually can hold thousands of characters. So don't worry if yours is too long. If you copy and paste it, whether you do it from your resume or from your LinkedIn profile, wherever you've got that info already, this can handle a lot of text in there. If you do go over the character limit, which I believe is 2,000 or 3,000 characters, if I remember correctly, it will tell you that you've exceeded that, and it'll show you how many characters you need to nudge that down a little bit. Okay. Down below that, you've got areas for your mobile phone, office phone, your fax number, email, and website. Make sure that you do have your KW agent website in there. Or if you're on a team site, I've had people, they do a team site and then find out later, hey, every time we go search for, let's say, Monica's still pulling up her individual profile. How do we fix that? This is the area where you fix that. So make sure that whatever your primary website is, whether it's your individual agent site or your team agent site, is here. Okay. I already know that I've got my market center, my brokerage DBA logo in there. But if you didn't, again, here's where you would put it in. You just upload it. If you don't have that, please just shoot me an email. Let me know. I can certainly send you that, or I can share with you on our Google Drive all the different versions of the logos. I know Jennifer just got a hold of me today and was looking for very specific vector logos that she needed to have, in addition to some other things. So we can share all those different folders with you, which have both the RGB versions for the web and also what's called the CMYK, which are the high resolution versions that you might use for your print material. Okay. Your market center information is over there on the right-hand side. Kind of get through this, breeze through this so we can get on the page creation. Legal footer text, not a bad thing to put in here if you've got some. Some, states require those, some do not. Command makes that optional. So if you want to put it in there, you can. Down below, you've got your social website links. Me personally, I actually do not do Twitter, even though Command does do posts and ads out to Twitter. I ran our Twitter account at CB Rich LS for about 12 years. So I think I was just kind of tweeted out doing it business-wise. So me personally, I don't do Twitter. If you do, hey, that's great. I've got Instagram. My LinkedIn is actually, I have a travel business on the side. So that's actually my travel blog and my travel business site. But I've got agents that ask me all the time, hey, I'm only on, say, Facebook and Instagram. I'll just leave those other ones blank, right? Well, I tell everybody at a minimum, if you don't have a page, it still looks better if it appears that you have a large social media presence. So if nothing else, put the KWRI site on there, or go even, obviously closer to home and put the KW Consultants office on there as well. At least then it looks like you are involved in YouTube, you are involved in Twitter, etc. Again, if you don't personally post to those, that's fine. But again, it does give them access to the information and the posts that are going out from corporate or from our local office here in Dublin. Okay. And down below, we won't worry about this now. These are future trainings, but when you get into Facebook ads and Google Analytics, you can get IDs here. But the one on the bottom you should have is your branded KW app. I am not an agent, so I don't have a license number, an agent number, but that should be there as well. Okay. So that's all your basics on your marketing profile, everyone. Just want to make sure that everybody, before we come into these landing pages, that you took the time to get that updated. Does anybody have any questions on the marketing profile before we move on to the actual landing page? Okay, no question. I'm going to take that silence as a positive. All right. So guys, you've got in Command, you've got all these navigation they call them applets over here. These are just your navigation buttons over on the side. If you go down to the very bottom, the last one down there is called Consumer. This is where all of your website information is. You'll see when I click on Consumer, up at the top, I've got an area for landing pages. I've got some agent site pages, and I've got a guide builder as well, which we are going to be doing training on that in a couple of weeks, how to go through and actually customize your buyer's guide, which is great to do because it brands it to you and you can get that out to your clients or prospective clients. So what we're going to do is today we are actually going to create an open house landing page. Again, landing pages are for very specific or very customized uses. And an open house is definitely a very specific use. I see Ash jumped in on the call. I know he and I have had several phone calls and talks. And I know that Ash is one of the agents here that personally uses this. If I remember correctly from our conversation, he actually went out on Amazon.com. Found himself, kind of a not cheap quality, but cheap stand, basically a stand that he can put his iPad in. And as people are coming into the open house, he literally directs them to that. And he's got his landing page pulled up, which has a sign-in sheet as well as some property information. That's exactly the kind of thing that we are going to set up today. So you could certainly do that at the open house, the sign-in sheets. These days, you could even blame it on COVID. Hey guys, as you greet them as they're coming in, hey guys, welcome to the open house, for security for the owner and because of COVID. We're not printing materials to hand out to everybody, but we do request that you sign in so we can keep track of everybody coming in, etc. And people are more than happy to just go to that iPad and just throw in their information. And you're going to see why in a little bit here, why that's going to be such an advantage, okay? So to create a brand new site, I'm going to go up here to this button on the top. In the green, it says create a new site. And click on that. It's going to ask me, hey, would you like to create this as a web page on your agent site? Or would you like this as a standalone page? Well, I'm going to do this as a standalone page and then say create page. And it's going to put me in this web page editor in Command. So to kind of show you the different areas, the first thing I'm going to have you do when you come in here is go right up to the top and just give this a name right from the get-go so you don't forget to do it later. So we are going to do open house. I'll just call it open house example or open house training. How's that? These are our purposes for today. Okay. And the way that this is set up, guys, is there's an area over on the left-hand side, the big area. Here, let me close. You get these little tips all the time, so I'm just going to close these down, save it some screen space. Called the body. And what this is kind of a preview area as you're building out your landing web page to show you the information that's there, the content that's there. Okay. Over on the right-hand side, you've got a couple of different options. You've got all these widgets. Okay. You see, there's 10 different widgets that are available to you. Excuse me, you've got your agent branding, your branded header, your lead form, your legal footer, your listing. There's a market snap widget, local expert, a video widget, which is pretty new. Again, that just came out here in December, which is kind of cool that you can add videos to these web pages now. A client testimonial capture form, which I mentioned before, and also the download my KW app widget as well. What a widget is, don't let those phrases fool you. All it is it's kind of got some pre-configured options on there for you so that you don't have to go in and do all the formatting and the configuration. You basically just like grab one of these widgets, add it over to your body area over on the left-hand side, and then you just kind of fill in the blanks. And that's exactly how this process is going to go. I think a lot of people that have not done a landing page before, I walk them through this and they're shocked. They didn't realize it was so easy to do this. We do have some options down here on the bottom, these content blocks. This is if you want to go and you want to kind of, I call it roughhousing it. You kind of just want to create the web page on your own from scratch and then have to deal with all of the formatting and all of the adding the content on your as well. You can see there's only a couple of options there. There's an image block and there's a text block. And you would literally just pull that over into the area, but then you would have to sit there and do all of the formatting all on your own. So me personally, I like to teach you guys technology so that you can be effective. But the other big thing I always tell everybody, if I can save you a little bit of time or a lot of time, minutes or even hours into your work week, I absolutely want to do that. So feel free, if you're a glutton for punishment like I am, I've played around with it, and you want to come in here and make a landing page and do those on your own, feel free to. But for today, we're going to stick with the widgets. I'm going to kind of make it easy for you guys, okay? So again, we're doing an open house widget. I kind of like Ash's idea. I've done some examples for these before where, hey, I want to do this and I want to have an open house landing page. Maybe I know some people that were interested in coming beforehand and I want to email them that link to give them the basic housing information. But maybe I do want to have it on an iPad or have, on a computer or something so that when people come in, they can sign in on this thing. And we're going to see the advantage of why that's a good thing to do. So I'm going to go ahead and just start building this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the branded header, and you'll see what information is on there once I drag it over. So I'm just gonna click and hold, and I drag that over here to our body area. And you can see as I drag it over, you get a green line that goes across the top of the screen. Well, right now it's the very first widget I'm adding, so that green line doesn't make a big deal, but that's basically telling you wherever I drop this widget, that's where it's gonna go. So the first widget doesn't really matter, but after that, I'm going to want to go above it. Am I going to want to go below it, etc.? And you'll see that in just a second here. So, but for now, it's the first widget. I'm just going to drop it there. You can see that the body pops in and automatically it's already grabbing some of that information that I showed you from my marketing profile when we first went into the settings, when we first got into command. So my name, phone number, my headshot photo, email address over there. Okay. Down below that, because I mentioned I did want to do this at the open house, have people sign in. Lead generation is one of the best gifts we can ever give you and show you how to do stuff in that. So I am going to grab this lead form. I'm going to drag it over. And again, you're going to see that green line pop up. But now you can see if I go above my header, the green line goes there. This is basically telling me where this widget is going to get positioned. Okay. We're going to build this thing from top to bottom just to make it easy on everybody. But just know that's what that green line is for. So when I let go of that, it tells me that the widget's not configured, but there it is. The lead form is there. Okay. Excuse me. The other thing that I want to do is I probably want to have the actual listing information in there in case they want to look at that. Again, I could possibly email this out to people beforehand, or they might want to scroll through, take some look at the basic stats on the house while they're there signing in as well. So I'm going to grab this listing, drag it down here. That green line goes to the bottom. Just let it go. and you'll see it throws that widget in there with some default information, not necessarily the information that I want, but that's okay. We'll walk through how we're going to modify all this stuff later. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, the next one I'm going to throw on here is a market snap, so we can have some basic neighborhood information in there. I'm going to grab that widget, drag it down to the bottom, and let go as well. And you'll see that populates. And then the last thing I'm going to put in there is just my legal footer. We'll kind of make this short and sweet, but we'll walk through the process on how to now update each of these information. So you can see I've got all these 5 widgets in here. Again, my branded header on the top, my lead form where I can capture some contact information. You'll see as I pause over each of these widgets, the name shows up over on the left-hand side, okay? Here's my listing widget with all the basic property information from the MLS and a map. My next is my market snap. It's got a neighborhood in there, but obviously we're not in Austin, Texas, so we're definitely going to want to update that. And then down below, my legal footer with all my information. And again, I don't do Twitter, guys. I absolutely do not. But I do have Twitter on there because I'm directing it to the KW RI site as well. So again, it does show that you have a good social media presence. Okay. So the next thing we want to do after we've chosen the widgets, and guys, don't worry if you're not sure what the widget is. Honestly, you could get in here and play with it. Okay. If I decided, oops, I didn't want the legal header, I could come over here and I could click on the, excuse me, the branded header. I decided, you know, I don't want that at all. I'll wait for my contact information down at the bottom. You'll notice if I come over here on the left and click on it, I get these options over here kind of down below it. So I could move it or I could delete it. Just to show you an example, I'm going to go ahead and delete it, and boom, it's gone. Okay, no big deal. If I wanted to do to put one back over there, again, I just grab it from the widgets on the right, make sure that green arrow is above, and boom, drop it in again. Okay, so you can modify things when you're doing that. But if you ever just want to see, hey, I'm not sure what the local expert widget does, just grab it and drag it over and take a look at the information that's in there. Okay, you can always keep it if you decide that's something that you like. If not, you can always delete it, no problem. Okay. So what we're going to want to do now that we have our widgets in there, we've got 5 different widgets now. We're going to go down below here on the right-hand side where it says configure widgets. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to walk through each of these 5 widgets one by one and make sure that we've got the proper information in there. Okay. So you'll notice when I click on configure widgets up here at the top, it kind of gives me these navigation arrows. And that's exactly how we're going to navigate through these, guys. You'll see that we've got branded header is number 1 out of 5. And after we go through all these options, we're going to click on this little arrow on the right. It'll just take us to the very next widget, which would be our lead form. Okay. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to put some header text. You'll notice below that field, it does limit you to 30 characters on this one. So I've got a house that I've been using lately. It's actually one that my wife and we live in Hilliard. So we actually looked at this house. I love outdoor stuff. I'm a grill master, self-proclaimed grill master anyways. Hang on just a sec, guy. It looks like Bob's coming into the room here. Go ahead and get Bob in. So this is one we were looking at, and I absolutely love their back deck area. They've got a great deck, fireplace, the built-in fire pit and everything, and just kind of caught my eye. So I've been pulling this one up in the MLS lately, use it for example. So 5448 Lakeshire Court open house. Remember, this is just the heading for my my header up there, my header text. Now notice I put in the address, but I ran out of letters. So you do have to kind of watch this because they only give you 30 letters. So rather than spell out court, I'm just going to use the abbreviation CT. And now literally the only letter I was missing is the E on the end of house. Oops, don't need a capital on that. And then you can see that I've got it in there. This is 5448 Larkshire Court open house. And anytime you make a change, it doesn't update automatically. But if I go down here to the very bottom and say save and apply, and you can see now over on the left side in that preview area, my header text does show up. So I've got 5448 Lakeshire Court open house. Okay. So now you can go through and you can see in this header widget, the stuff that I pulled over from my marketing profile. There's my headshot. If I pause my cursor on here, I can either change the photo out or I can delete the headshot if I only want text on there. That is an option. Okay. I've got my name in there. Also up to 30 characters. I do want to make sure I point those out to everybody in case anybody has a long name or even a hyphenated name. for some of the ladies that may have the hyphenated names from your surnames, okay? Phone numbers are in there, also pulled from your marketing profile. I do want to point out that if your phone number is listed in this particular format, when you pull it over from your marketing profile, it will display that way in the format as well. So if you're like me and you're old school and you like to make sure that you've got your dashes in between your phone number segments, you will need to put those in. I just found this little tidbit out recently. Some people actually like to put the parentheses around their phone numbers. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. And look at the error message it gives me. This is something that we've submitted to command. It's asking you, oh, excuse me, I had the wrong bracket there. It's saying, please enter a valid US phone number. So just be aware, currently, not always, but currently anyways, command is not recognizing those parentheses on a phone number as a valid digit, okay? So just make sure you go with your dashes for now. That's why I do want to point it out to everybody. The next thing is my email address. And then also if you've got a team logo, if you didn't have that, it's showing up because I didn't have it in my marketing profile. But if you do have one, you can always add that as well. So after I've made all those changes, I'm going to save and apply. And that's it for my first widget, guys. That's the header. I'm going to go up here to this top area where I've got these navigation arrows, click on the one to the right, and it's going to take us to our lead form now, okay? Now that lead form normally, this is when you're sending out a listing, the default text in there is, you know, interested, let's talk. Well, that doesn't really apply to our open house. So let's just go ahead and say something like, oops, I had it selected. There we go. Open house. Actually, let's say welcome. Please sign in. Okay. Probably a little more applicable for the open house. Sorry, my mouse pad is very sensitive. It always thinks I'm right clicking for some reason. Okay, so there we go. As soon as I save and apply, it applies that. You notice it's the only option here. And again, as of right now, they always come out with improvements and enhancements to command. But right now, the default information that you can have on the form, you can't choose what information you get in there. So the defaults, and you can see it on the left there, is their first name, their last name, their email address, their phone number, and if they have any notes for you, leave a note. Okay. So those are the defaults. So we're going to go ahead and say stay with those. Click on this right navigation arrow, and let's go do our third widget, which is the actual listing. Okay, right now there's no listing selected. Obviously, this is not my house in Austin, Texas. I'm going to click on that button that says Browse Listings, and it's going to bring me to the listing search page. Very similar to what you've done in your other command options as well. Now, I do want to pull down this menu over here. It is default to the property address, and this is coming from the MLS, but you do have another couple of search options, okay? If you have the MLS number, if for some reason it's not pulling up by address, or the MLS number is the only thing you have, or you've got the KWLS identification number as well. You can switch this to any of those three, okay? Always want to make sure I point that out to everybody. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and put in, like I said, the Larkshire, Hilliard, Ohio. Hopefully I spelled that right. There we go. A lot of nice houses in that area, but here's the one I was looking for, 5448 Larkshire Court. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. I found it in the MLS. I will tell you right now, this house actually did sell, much to our dismay. We were the ones that actually got it, but hey, somebody got a great house with this one. Give it a second there. Looks like command is just lagging a little bit as it's pulling that information in. But now you can see that it pulls the information from the listing. It's got the price there, the actual address, and then all of the MLS photos that are in there as well. All these different photos, just so you can see that amazing back deck that I was talking about. I'm going to click on one of the other photos and then click on save and apply. Remember, the changes don't take place until you hit save and apply. But now you can see there's that awesome back deck that I was talking about. Really nice one in the backyard there. So, so you could choose a different photo. I always like to point this out as well. If you have your own images, or maybe you or your client has had a photographer go out and take newer photos, or maybe the initial MLS photos like this one, you can see the trees in the background. This was obviously taken in the fall or the winter because all the leaves are off of the trees and the trees look dead, okay? So maybe you've got a brand new photo, maybe you've got some updated photos. you do have an option over here on the right to create or to add a custom image as well, rather than from the listing. So when I click on custom image, this option shows up, drag here or click to browse. And it does say we recommend uploading high resolution images for the best display. A lot of times they tell you don't add high file photos to a web page. It'll slow the web page down. This one, you actually want your best photos possible. So I've got a photo here on my desktop. It's from Christmas time, kind of an interior photo. Just to show you the process, when I click on that, I can browse my computer, find a photo. And when I click on it and say open, and I'll say save and apply, then it goes ahead and it puts that custom photo that I had on my hard drive onto our open house landing page. Okay. So just want to show you that you did have that option in case one of those scenarios came up. Like I said, you have updated photos or maybe the photos aren't on the MLS yet and you want to make sure that you get them on there. So for our purposes, I'm going to go ahead and stick with the main photo from the MLS listing. Click on save and apply. Again, it's just running a little slow, pulling in all the MLS data. And now when I scroll down here on my preview area, you can see I've got not only the photo, but all that MLS information did come in for the house. It's got the price, the listing price. Again, this one is sold, but again, it's just an example. 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. It was built in 2005. That entire photo gallery is here for people to review. They did some very nice photos on here. All the details and features, and then where that house is via a location map. Okay. So, guys, that is our excuse me, our listing widget. Now that we're done with that, we can come up here to the upper right and move on to the next one. Click on that right arrow, and this is our neighborhood, our market snap. Okay. So again, I want to put in some header text. This area I know as far as since I live in Hilliard and it's close to me, this is referred to as the Hilliard Rome Road area. And that zip code for us is 43026. I'm just going to pop that in there. And as soon as I put in the zip code, you'll see that as a required field, all of the different neighborhoods of Hilliard pop up. Okay. So now I can scroll down through all of these. There's Old Hilliard, Hilliard Heights, Carriage Run. That's right off the Bethel Road, right? Bethel and Sawmill, Avery Estates, etc. All the different areas of Hilliard. And somewhere in there, I probably missed it. I probably went too fast. Should be our Hilliard Rome Road area. There we go, Hilliard Rome. Okay. So again, what you're looking at right now on the left is Austin, Texas. As soon as I enter the postal code and I choose my neighborhood, click on save and update. Now, when I scroll down, you'll be able to see absolutely that is Hilliard, Ohio, right there. I know because my 2 boys love going to that Raising Cane's Chicken right over there, right on the corner of Roberts Road and Hilliard Rome Road. Okay. But it did update. It pulls in some information from the MLS. If there's more active listings or whatnot in there, it'll pull those in as well. I'm going to go ahead and go to our next area, our last and our final widget. Click on that right area or right arrow, excuse me. And this will take you to the legal footer that you have down below. And you can change out any of the information here. You've got your social media links. Again, your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. It's not showing. Oh, I don't know why it's doing that for YouTube. Oh, because I didn't have the YouTube channel in there. That would be why. That's got the example. Your DBA logo, if you needed to change it, you could do that here or delete that. And then it's got your basic market center information in here with the name, the address, the phone number for the office as well. And again, if you did not if you had not put your brokerage license number over in your marketing profile, you could add that here as well. So I'm going to make sure to save and apply that, save any changes that you have. And then I've got a couple of options that I can do, guys. But before I do that, I always like to point these up. If when you're in this kind of editing process, as you add the widgets and then you're editing them, I'm old school. I like my keyboard shortcuts on my computer. But I always like to point out that while you're doing things, people get nervous all the time. Oh, no, I clicked on this accidentally, or no, oh, no, I accidentally deleted that or added that and I didn't mean to. For those of you that remember Microsoft Word, you said the undo and the redo buttons up at the top of your screen that look like the little circles. You've got them right here, guys. Okay. So don't ever stress out if you make a mistake. It's okay. Command, believe it or not, it's actually forgiving. You've got your undo buttons, your redo buttons if you ever have to redo that. And you also have this preview screen option, which I'm going to click on that. Give it a second. Oh, it's because I haven't saved it. Hang on. Let me go ahead and say, I'm going to save this landing page. We can save it or publish it. I'm just going to save it for now because I want to show you where it goes in command, and then I want to show you where you can edit it as well. So when I save that page, we're back here in consumers. Remember, that's your last applet over here on the left on your navigation buttons, consumers, your landing pages, agent sites, guides, and you can see there's a draft of our open house training. It says you haven't published this page yet, but if I go over here to these three little option button or dots, ellipses, gives me a menu. If you've already edited this and published it, the only option there is to delete it. But for now, we can go back and we can edit it. If I want to make any changes, if I want to add anything, delete anything, modify any of those widget options that we configured, we could do that. But finally, when maybe you need to let your team review it beforehand, etc. You can do that as well. But when I'm finally ready to go clean my space on that World Wide Web, I'm going to come up here to the top and click on Publish Page. And it's going to ask me, are you sure you would like to publish this? This is going to make it viewable to everybody else. Yes, I would like to publish that page. And it's working in the background to put it on the World Wide Web for us. And once that comes back to the consumer page, you can see that I do have a unique URL for this web page. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. It's going to take me to the web page. This is live on the web now. It's literally active. Any activity that happens on this page is going to be live. And we'll just kind of take a preview here of it. You can see we've got our header that we put up at the top with all the basic information. We've got our lead form that we put in to capture people's contact information as they're signing in to the open house, or possibly if I send that to them before the open house. You've got your basic listing widget that we added. So it's got all our listing information from the address we pulled from the MLS, all that property info, that awesome photo gallery that they had, some basic information, the location map, which this is right off of Google Maps, by the way. So you can always go in here and look at map views, satellite views. I have people that ask me why you ever want to look at a satellite view. Sometimes on a map view, you just kind of see a blank area to the side of the property. You don't know what it is. But then if you go to the satellite view and you zoom in, you can see it's either farm fields or maybe it's construction area that's going on behind your house. Maybe some people want to move to an area where there's construction going on. Maybe some don't want to put up with that for a year. So you never know. Okay. But that is straight off of Google Maps. So you do have the Google Maps options. And then the one below that was our Market Snap that we have for the Hilliard Rome Road area with some basic statistics, and then the legal footer that we put at the bottom with our contact information for the office, and then our social media links as well. Okay, so that's kind of your basic landing page, guys. So that's the basic process on how you build it. So now let's say open house day comes up and you're a savvy agent just like Ash is, and you know you've got a stand that you've got people signing in as they come in. So I want to show you in the background what happens as people sign in. So I'm going to say that, you know, maybe we had I'm a big Marvel geek as far as the movies. I used to collect comic books when I was a kid. Yes, I'm not only a techno geek, I'm just a regular geek as well. But let's say we've got some Marvel characters coming in, and maybe Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man, came in. We asked him to sign in. He said, absolutely, no problem. You know, maybe his email address is webslinger1@gmail.com. Phone number, we'll put him in Columbus, but we'll go with the old, what is it, the movies, they always do 555s for the phone numbers, right? 0123. And what's his old song? Spider-Man, does everything a spider can. Whatever the comment is that they leave, okay? Now, the lead forms are going to have this little, they call it a captcha on there. That's basically just, hey, click here, make sure you're not a robot. Some of you may see those, and then they say, hey, click on everything that's a car, click on everything that's a traffic light. It's just a way to make sure you're not getting spam. But once you click on that, the send button comes up. So I'm going to click on the send button. I'm going to thank Mr. Parker for signing in, you know, to the open house. You can see that the little notice came up. Thank you. Your information has been captured. That's great. I'm going to refresh my page here, which you don't have to do this every time. And then I'm going to say maybe, excuse me, maybe Professor Xavier from the X-Men is going to come along, you know, and his is baldprofessor@gmail.com. And he's also at 614, one of our 555 numbers. Let's give him 1357. And this house would be great for my X-Men team. Okay, somebody could literally type something in there and say, hey, I love the house, please contact me, etc., which is great. So that begs the question, where does this information go and how am I going to capitalize on this? Well, we're going to get to that in just a second. And hopefully you guys are going to be excited as I am when you see what happens with this. So I'm going to click on the send button again after I put that check mark on the little captcha. Thank you. Your information has been submitted. And you just kind of go through your process through the open house. Thank you for coming. Would you please sign in, etc. You're having everybody sign in. That's great. What's going on in the background? Well, gang, this was created in Command. And your goal as an agent is your contact database, correct? That's really where the gold of your career lies is maintaining that database, capturing more leads, getting more clients, etc. So I'm going to refresh my command screen here. And the first thing I want to show you is when later on the open house is over, I'm done, I clean up everything, I close up, I go home for the day. It's time to take a break. And as I'm sitting down, I don't know, catching up on the Mandalorian or Cobra Kai, if you like those things, like I do, you open up your command and you want to see how your open house went. Notice this little bell that's up on the top of command, that's called your notifications. You'll notice that I have notifications. That little red indicator says I had notifications. And when I click on it, it tells you, you've got a lead form notification. Now it says a minute ago and 2 minutes ago because we just did this. This would say, it could be 3 hours ago, 5 hours ago, etc. Excuse me, whenever you're having the open house. So that's good to know. I've got some activity going on, but what is that activity? Well, I'm going to come over here to my contacts area over on the left and click on that. And I had some previous clients that came into a prior open house, the Incredible Hulk, Peter Parker, Professor Xavier, and Spider-Man. Maybe I want to see like how these came in order, in chronological order. You can always sort these by the different columns. So when I clicked on last contacted, you can see the Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man actually came in and visited my last open house earlier today. Those were hours ago. However, my most recent ones were Professor Xavier and Peter Parker. So, gang, here's one of the advantages. I think you just learned to a landing page. It's not just so you have a cool web page and get your information out there. Of course, that's it. To kind of preempt people and get them interested in the property. But the great information, or the great thing about these sign-in sheets, is you capture these information. That these are contacts in your contact database in Command now. I could literally go into click on Peter Parker's name, and here's his contact form. I've got everything in there ready to put in. I've got his name. He's currently marked as a lead right now. He was lead generated from an open house. I've got his phone number he gave me. There's that webslinger one at Gmail. Where is the lead source? I got this off of a KW landing page, obviously mine or my team's, okay? I could go in here and to keep my health, your contact database health score up. That's one of the things that Command tracks. I could add his neighborhood. Maybe he's already in the Hilliard Rome area. Maybe he's, out on Avery Road in a different area of Hilliard. But I could go and I could put his neighborhood in here, and then I could add him to my neighborhood touch emails that I'm sending out. Some of you are already getting into smart plans, or you're wanting to learn about smart plans, okay? So in this contact thing, I can add him to an opportunity. If he becomes a client later on and he wants to buy this or another house, I can click on the smart plans options over here on the top. I can put tasks on here. Hey, follow up. If I don't have smart plans set up yet, please get into smart plans. Come into the training in a couple of weeks. You guys are going to love the smart plans if you have not got into them yet. Great way to automate your follow-ups and your touch bases with your clients after events and things like this, okay? Or I could put a task in if I don't have a smart plan yet. Hey, call Peter Parker in a day and just say thank you for coming to the open house. I hope you enjoyed the home. Is there anything I can do to help you with your real estate needs or your home search right now? Okay. So guys, this is the real power of those landing pages for an open house. That's why an open house thing is so powerful. So you can have pages, those same fields that were available, those widgets, you can add those onto your agent sites, of course. But when you're doing an open house or when just something just listed or whatnot, this is a great way to have people sign in and automatically capture them as a lead It's already in command. It's not like the old days where you had an old piece of paper, people signed in, and then when you went home, what would you do? You'd sit there and you'd be transcribing this, right? You'd be typing it into an Excel sheet or typing it into your old, database or whatever CRM you were using in the past. In command, not so. Do it digitally. Blame it on COVID if you want to. It's a great excuse. Hey, we're not printing out any materials, but we do want you to sign in, have them sign in, capture their information. You guys know from open houses, as well. Some people may give you some bogus information. You might find out that they misspelled or they mistype, or maybe they just, gave you ABC123 at AOL.com, something like that, etc. That comes with the territory. So this is a great way to build a page very quickly, easily, have it available to send your clients before the open house, have it as a sign-in sheet during the open house, capture the contacts, they're in command. You just got new contacts, guys, okay? So that is it. That is a open house landing page in a nutshell. How to create it, how to go through and edit that, how to put it out on the World Wide Web, and then the advantage of that, obviously, is the lead capture from your events. And this doesn't have to be an open house. This could be any event that you're doing. It could be, our career nights here at the office. It could be an event that you're having, maybe for the Columbus Board of Realtors or whatever agencies that you're or other organizations that you're involved in. Okay. So there's a whole bunch of applications here. Honestly, your imagination is the limit to these. Anything that you guys can come up and conceive, then you can create that. I was going to ask for a question, but hang on, guys. I got a question in the queue. Do they have to fill out the form in order to see the rest of the web page, or do they just scroll down under the rest of the web page under the form? Jacqueline, that's a great thing, and that is entirely up to you. If you want them as, for whatever reason, a security measure, or just, hey, you want to control the flow of information, you could literally just create that widget with your header and the sign-in sheet if you wanted to. And then after you capture those forms, just let them know, hey, everybody that signs in, we're going to send you a package on this house. You could have a whole nother just listed landing page created. And then after you come home from that day, you've got all the people. I would just honestly, I'd add them to a smart plan. And on that smart plan, create an email, which is next week's topic, email campaigns for our training next week. And just shoot everybody that came to that open house your information within 24 hours of showing up to the open house. So that would be the way that you would do that. Again, that's only if you want to control the information. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. Some people, you just want them to see the visual. Don't worry about all the stats and everything right from the get-go. That's okay. If you're okay with them looking at the information on there, you can add that totally at the agent discretion. So great question. I appreciate that. Thanks, Jacqueline. And does anybody else have any questions about landing pages or anything that we covered today? Anything else at all? Give everybody a chance to chime in here. Okay, I'm not seeing anything in the queue, and it doesn't look like anybody's coming off of mute. So I'm going to assume that you guys are like out of your chairs and jumping and screaming and loving what we went through. I'll just go with that assumption, okay? So gang, we're going to go ahead and close this down. Again, I do want to apologize for the scheduling snafu. We will get that fixed in our Zoom again. For those of you that came in a little bit late or tried to get on earlier, our Zoom is set in Central Time for some reason, and we've been scheduling an hour ahead. So we had a little time mix up today, but we will get that fixed. That's on us. So next week, January 20th, just to let everybody know, that's creating email campaigns in command. And if you guys give me just 1 second, I'm going to put my Calendly link into the chat for everybody, so that if any point in time you guys want to get some one-on-one time with me, feel free to do so. Just click on that link. That'll give you access to my availability on my calendar, and pasting that in there right now. There you go, everybody. So there's my Calendly link. Feel free to hit me up anytime. I'd love to help you guys out. It's been great helping everybody out so far, but anything that I can do to help, increase your presence on the web, social media, etc., but ultimately increase your business and the way that you're helping your clients, that's what I'm here for, guys. So I appreciate you guys coming to the training today. Thank you so much. Please grab that Calendly link. Hit me up anytime, okay? Look forward to working with you guys. Everybody have a great Wednesday and enjoy the rest of your week, okay? Take care, gang.